You know, I did read about a tunnel on Highway 50. Most people said not a big deal. Some people said, oh, then you don't have to worry about the tunnel. And I didn't really understand why people are like, it's not a big deal, and other people are like, it's a big deal. Well, good morning from our final day at Mammoth Lakes. This has been a beautiful spot. It was only 5 days long. We didn't have enough time to explore everything. I'm really sad we didn't get to go into June Lake.
I know, I really wanted to swim at June Lake. It looked like such a relaxing place to kill an afternoon.
We're gonna have to totally come back. And this is one of my favorite spots. It was definitely one of the more difficult, narrow spots to get into, but since we've been here, we've seen multiple 40-foot toy haulers,
lots of big rigs,
Class A's, everything out here. So it is what it is, and this is part of boondocking.
Yes, and it was fun, and I'm really excited to go to Lake Tahoe. One thing I struggle with is, like, while I'm in an area, I get really excited to go to the next area. And I always have to remind myself, Chris, you're in Mammoth Lakes right now. You need to just be present right here. Do you struggle with that, Aaron?
Sometimes, like, planning is so tough. I stopped doing it. It takes
you try to be a step ahead.
It takes so much time.
When you try to be a step ahead, it takes away from today.
Yeah. But yes, Lake Tahoe is the destination today. We are going to Lake Tahoe Valley Campground, and little Junebug is gonna meet the vet and get speed. Yay!
She's a mature 8-month-old.
It's 6:55 in the morning, and we have the difficult task of trying to turn our rig around. So here's the spot we're working with. There's no really big turnaround. So we're gonna have to hitch up, kind of pull forward, try to back, I think, our butt in as far as we can that way. And then, since there's a little bit of extra room over here, try to turn around, and hopefully having the fifth wheel, the sliding hitch, and it's on gravel, so you know, a tight turn like that is less harsh on the axles. It's not on pavement or cement, and that's kind of the plan. And then we need to slowly make our way down this tight, treacherous, thorny little path where we did a little bit of scrapage action on the way in. I know it's hard to tell, this thing's really dirty, but there's little fine scratches all along the side there, which I'm hoping I can buff out. Well, we're definitely coming across some bigger challenges as we're boondocking. And, you know, honestly, we do a lot of desert boondocking and a lot of the open stuff. So a lot of the in the trees things like this, you know, you're gonna have trouble with a lot of different rigs. But with ours, we have the height, the width, and a little bit of the length. So it is definitely proving to be difficult. That took us
1 hour.
An hour. So this little river, I can't remember the name of it, that's right along Highway 395, can't remind me any more of Colorado than it does. This northern part of 395 in California, it's so much like Colorado.
A lot of fly fishermen, and it's Saturday morning, 10 a.m., and it looks so peaceful. Like, what a great way to spend your weekend. You drive out here. Who knows how far they each drove to get here, but maybe they live here, maybe they're visiting. You can only speculate, but it was definitely, and they were all like by themselves, so all these people are out here just in solitude. Very peaceful.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fun drive, and I think you could spend like a month or more if you really wanted to do it slow, like going up through 395 and all these little towns. And so trying to research the route out of here to Lake Tahoe, for some reason in my head I just imagined 395 just like went right to Lake Tahoe.
Straight there.
I just kind of thought it did. But looking at the routes, there's many ways to cross over. I think it was the 88 was the first one at like Lake Topaz, and then there's the 207, like the Kingsbury grade, which looks horrible to take across. That's the one the map kept telling us to take. And then there's Highway 50, which you have to kind of go up past Lake Tahoe and then over. That's the route we're taking. I've kind of just read that is the easiest and makes the most sense. I think what we've figured out as we've been traveling in the mountains is we can handle most mountain situations. We're not that long, we're not that heavy. We have a good diesel truck that can handle towing in the mountains. And, you know, it's more just like, how much stress do we want to have in our situations? And the boondocking in the mountains is always going to be a little bit more difficult than in the open, flat desert land. So we just got our first glimpse of Lake Tahoe. We're on Highway 50 and we're just started going down the mountain after the easy drive up, and boom, there it is.
Bam! Right in your face. The most blue water I've seen in a long time.
With the pine trees too.
With the pine trees and the mountains. It's like the trifecta of all the eye goodies in one shot.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe. This is gonna be very interesting. I feel like this is gonna be, again, like it feels like we're in Colorado. I feel like this is gonna be like Aspen on crack. You know, where it's like a very wealthy area, very touristy, and very beautiful, like all at the same time.
I think Tahoe is a happening place.
Yes.
And I'm excited to live there for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we actually got, you know, a good campground through Thousand Trails for a couple weeks, and we really need to slow down for a minute.
We're ready to push pause.
Yeah, we've literally been unhooked. We have not been in a campground besides the 2-day stint in Colorado. We haven't been in a campground since May.
Since May.
Since the end of May.
And it's turning August here.
It's now almost August. So we're really looking forward to a little bit of running water. We don't have to worry about power now, which is awesome, but again, running water and just, you know, the ease of not traveling right now, just to sit for a minute and enjoy the area. You know, I did read about a tunnel on Highway 50. Most people said not a big deal. Some people said, oh, then you don't have to worry about the tunnel. And I didn't really understand why people are like, it's not a big deal, and other people are like, it's a big deal. Well, kind of confusing.
It could be a big deal.
It's got 3 signs on it. Obviously, it's talking about the left side, the middle, and the right side. But it's big, from 12 feet to 17 feet to 9 feet. Like, that's...
But the confusing thing about it when you're approaching it is it has those 3 labels for height, but it only has 2 lanes. So if you're in the right lane, you're in the 9-foot side. If you're in the left lane, you're in the 12-foot side. Well, we're 13.5, so I just straddled the middle. It's a very, very short tunnel.
Yeah, that's nice that it was short.
Very short. Like, very short.
Yeah, and it's obviously talking about this, the side walls, which, you know, it narrows down quite a bit, but you have no idea if you're in the right lane how much of your right side of your vehicle is close to that 9 foot. I mean, 9 foot and 13.5 is a big difference.
Yeah, 9 foot, like, what was our Sprinter van?
Sprinter van was under 10. It was like 9'8" or something like that.
So that would have even been tight in the van, in the right lane.
Yeah, it looked really big though.
It looked really big. I'm sure we're over it.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about it. It was just one of those weird things that was kind of not expected.
Tell me, honey, will we go far?
Listen, baby, don't break my heart.
Yeah, this road is long ahead. Yeah, this road is long ahead. Let's take it slow.
Just crossed the state border back into California, and this is South Lake Tahoe, I guess, and it's really, really, really busy. Like,
it is banging here.
This is a busy touristy area, and like it's Saturday, so you got like all the touristy stuff, and then you probably got like maybe more locals and stuff trying to go to the beaches and like just enjoy their Saturday. But this is like a fun tourist town.
I'm just excited driving through it. Like I'm craving some city life.
Yeah, we're 5 miles from Lake Tahoe Valley Campground and 15 minutes with all this traffic, but pretty close. So the campground in Thousand Trails here is unbelievably close to Lake Tahoe. A lot of times Thousand Trails campgrounds would be like 20 minutes outside of town.
Yeah.
Or maybe even worse, like in the middle of nowhere. So this one's actually right in a good area.
I'm surprised it's not a $20 a night location.
Yeah, considering like Portland is $20 a night, and it's...
Well, usually like when you're near a popular city, that's when the fees are. But like, why? I don't know. This one just seems like it would be a fee for me, and I'm glad it's not.
Yeah, maybe the campground is like really small and dingy and whatever, which we don't really care. So
That's why we have our big fifth wheel.
It works out for us. Okay, the lever's out, 7 pins out, safety pins out. Wheel chocks are in, I think that's it.
Tailgate's down.
Tailgate's down.
That's always the one you forget to say.
Yeah. All right, well, we have set up. It's been a long time since we've been in a campground.
A long time. A long time.
We have lots of stuff going on. This is the very first time we've plugged into shore power with the new inverters and system. So I wanted to keep a close eye on it, make sure that everything was hooked up properly. You know, the dual inverter was definitely a new setup for me, so I wanted to make sure everything worked appropriately. And we're in a 30 amp service, so that's why it's just coming in through line 1. You can put the limiter up here to 30 amps. So what that means is we're not going to pull any more than 30 amps, but the inverters can power and assist an extra, I think like 20 amps maybe, so we can almost get like full 50 amp service while we're on 30 amp service.
That's really cool that with having this big rig. Like, we don't ever need to worry about calling ahead, booking a premium 50 amp site. A lot of the parks charge extra for those 50 amp sites now. So we're gonna save some moolah, and more so just brain damage and like planning ahead. Like, we'll be fine wherever.
Yeah. What are you cleaning the sink?
Oh, I'm kind of exhausted, yeah. So when I got in here, it was really, really messy, and I did a full deep clean on everything. I love to do a deep clean when we arrive to our new destination, which I know is kind of a bad time because we're tired and exhausted from traveling all day. But when you're driving around, a lot of dust gets shaken loose, right? So I don't really like cleaning beforehand because then it's gonna get all messy in transit. I like to clean when we land, and then it's like we're all set up and it feels really inviting. So I've done a lot. Wipe down everything, a good sweeping, a good mopping, and now during boondocking and limited water, the sinks get pretty cringy. Like, this is really gross, and my sponge is really gross, and I've made a good habit to save these dirty sponges. I'm tempted to like throw it away and swap it out for a clean one, but I'm gonna save it so that I can do like my deep clean bleaching, because I use this. So I can scrub the sink out, I can scrub the shower, I can scrub the toilet, and then I throw it away. So this tiny little sponge gets used to its fullest extent, and then I get a freshie for my dishes.
And we're having a little gray tank issue during travel. We're noticing when we get somewhere that there's a really bad like gray tank smell inside the RV.
Like pretty rancid.
Yeah. Chris said Louie was smelling the shower and was trying to roll on it like a dead animal.
Yeah, Louie got into the shower, and you know how dogs try to roll into dead things that they find in the bushes or whatever. So he rarely does that. He's done it once to like sewer caps on the street, and then he just tried to do it in here, which is out of his ordinary.
And so I've seen some of those 360 siphons that go on the gray vent on top, or like the little, I don't know, fan blade in it, I guess, to help kind of draw the gray tank smells out. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on. When we sat for 3 weeks, I started to smell it a little bit in like the basement area. So, and it's gray tank. It's not black tank. You know, let's see, I'm trying to think. Back in the travel trailer during travel days when we arrived somewhere, was it more of the black tank that smelled?
Yeah.
So we had more of a black tank smell in the travel trailer.
Yep. You can definitely tell the difference between the two.
Yeah.
And neither one is pleasant.
And this, if you think about it, we have 106 gallons of gray water. I mean, we don't have that in there, but there's a possibility of over 100 gallons of gray water. So those can start to smell after a while. But yeah, the travel trailer had a black tank smell at times, and then this one has a gray tank smell at times. So I'm gonna have to do some more investigating. If anybody has any similar stories, feel free to share. I ended up ordering 2 different styles of siphoning vents, and while I preferred the lower profile one, I ended up putting on the shark fin style, mainly because it slipped right over the vent tube and it installed in less than 5 minutes. And all that without removing any of the old sealant or having to add any new. I will say, since adding these on, they have worked great, and there hasn't even been a whiff of any smells from the tank vents. So even on a 30 amp circuit, it did not take long to charge the batteries all the way up. I kind of saw a peak there of 80 to, actually I saw almost 90 amps, which is at 12 volt is 180 amps charging into the batteries. So that's just a lot of power, very fast, and it charges up really, really quickly. So the cool thing about lithium batteries, and y'all know we're partners with Battleborn batteries, but I don't want to say any lithium battery, but any good lithium battery, the great thing about them is they bulk charge like up to 99%, meaning that 82 amps was full throttle all the way up to 99% right there. So it wasn't until it hit 99% that it went into the absorption stage. And in lead acid batteries, the absorption stage starts at about 80% of the lead acid batteries, and it takes like 4 or more hours to get from that 80% up to 100%. So it can really take a long time to charge up lead acid batteries, to fully charge up lead acid batteries. So when we first set off on this journey and we had our Sprinter van and we had lead acid batteries, I didn't understand all of that. So, you know, we were never fully charging our batteries up because, you know, we'd drive for a couple hours and it looks like the battery was getting all the way charged, but really they charge up to about 80% unless you let it sit on that absorption for a long time. So a lot of people kick on their generator for like an hour or two and be like, oh yeah, topped off my batteries. And it just doesn't work that way with lead acid batteries. Lithium for a few hours, then you can really charge the lithium all the way up to 99%. So now that we're charged up, basically, we're gonna leave the limiter on 30 amp, and then basically anytime we're pulling an AC load over 30 amps off of shore power, it's gonna take it from the battery. And that's gonna be pretty cool because it's gonna be like we're on a 50 amp circuit. Tahoe Valley Campground was great, but we were really surprised to see they get visited by bears every single day. The first time we saw this while taking the dogs out in the morning was quite alarming. And despite the empty threat left by the Lake Tahoe Bear League, it's pretty sad to see campers leaving trash outside of the dumpsters and not even attempting to lock them back up. Every single morning, this was our view. One of the main reasons we went here was to get June spayed by the local vet, which was conveniently located within walking distance right across the street. Oh, hi June bug.
So out of it.
Yeah.
Really out of it.
Oh, I like her black shirt.
It's nice and tight on her. It's nice.
Louie. Hi June. Louie, off. The first week, we were pretty much on dog duty, making sure she was recovering properly and keeping the two from playing with each other too hard, which was a full-time job in itself. After that first week, we really got to enjoy the area with daily runs to the lake, e-biking adventures around town, and some fun local restaurants. And probably the highlight of our trip was the 2-hour boat cruise on the Spirit of Tahoe. We don't normally do a lot of things like this, but we made a pact to each other to get on the water of Lake Tahoe and see it from another angle. This cruise went around Emerald Bay and around Fanette Island and the famous tea house on it. There was lots of people enjoying the lake as we were there for the 2 weeks. The water on Lake Tahoe is something else, and if you've never visited here before, we can definitely say it's something we recommend. Thanks for watching this week's video, and we'll catch you on the next one.
I don't know where I've been, I don't know where I'm going. Been holding on to the past, but this life keeps on moving. Don't you worry about me, I'm gonna leave it so behind tonight. And it may take a little time just for us to get it right. I could turn back now and leave this all behind. I don't know if I'll ever make it out alive. I could turn back now and leave this all behind. I don't know if I'll ever get out alive. I don't know where I've been, I don't know where I'm going. Been holding on to the past, but this life keeps on moving.